What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Counting Wisdom podcast. So China has just launched drills around Taiwan, and this is just another provocation. Now, I don't know. Okay, so if there ever was a time to listen to the end of the world sort of messages, not that we don't know the day or the hour, because we don't, right? But if there was ever a time to listen, I think it would be now. Now, of course, maybe 50 years could pass, maybe another 10 years could pass. We don't know, but there's so much going on. Before I continue, I highly recommend getting on some sort of stress medicine. I just want to put that out there. I don't recommend self-medicating with alcohol, just because we don't know if the rapture is a selective rapture. Now, I hear the messages from pastors saying that all Christians go in the rapture, but just in case the rapture is a selective rapture, as far as the 5 wise virgins and the 5 foolish virgins, we have to take that into account. I highly recommend repenting of any bad ways that we have gone through or done, any struggles with sin that you have maybe had. Also, there is always pressure to, the end times must be happening because we see these different shifts in the world. I heard of people sort of emptying out their bank accounts, back in 1988 when the rapture could have been back then. Or when there's a huge push for the rapture, you have, a people that will tell you, all these different things to do. But nevertheless, I think that if you have some sort of extra funds, that you should prepare the best way you know how. Now, again, I don't recommend, necessarily emptying out all your bank accounts because you're preparing, or quitting your job, or different things like that. I think just because we don't know the day or the hour, Jesus wants us to continue on like normal, for the most part. He wants us to continue on like normal. But because we have a split message in the church, some say that there is a rapture, some say there isn't a rapture. I think that we need to prepare for both scenarios. Or if we're wrong about maybe the rapture is a year into the tribulation, maybe 6 months into the tribulation, maybe, a couple months down, I don't know. But we should prepare as if God is telling us all these things. I think one thing that a person does is that they hear a lot of the messages out there and they just continue completely as normal. Like, they continue in sin. They continue, not really preparing, they see the danger, but they don't take precaution. I think those things are completely, wrong things to do. Now, we can't, always predict every single thing that's going to happen, and we can't always prepare for every single scenario. It doesn't have to be major. I mean, let's say somehow, your credit card stops working or something, and it may take a few days for you to contact the bank or something and be like, hey, you can't predict everything, right? And sometimes it doesn't have to be a major little event for it to sort of happen. But, China, I made a video man, this is probably a year going on 2 years from now that, China is going to invade Taiwan. And now that wasn't really because of I'm a military expert or anything like that. It was just looking at how, the way that China is acting, like the kind of things that they're doing. It's like, okay, if there seems like there's a good chance that they're going to invade. Now, I think that, right now we have even bigger evidence of them possibly invading. And that is because they're doing military drills around Taiwan. Now, what does this have to do? Okay, well, I'm not a person that believes in the Gog Magog being a pre-trib thing. I believe Revelation has all the events laid out in tribulation, and I don't see the Ezekiel 38, 39 being, around chapter 6 or something like that. I believe it's where it says Gog and Magog in the book of Revelation. Now, I know a lot of pastors will talk us out of believing that, and it really doesn't really amount to anything, but I believe one of the next things is the World War. World War is one of the next things, not necessarily Russia coming down to invade Israel. And so, okay, look what's going on with Israel and Hamas and, that area. Now, obviously, I want to say that Israel is one of the causes of, I think it was World War I or World War II. One of those wars, it involved something that happened with Israel. Now, look at what Russia and Ukraine is going through. Now, look at China and Taiwan. You have all these breakdowns of different areas that I believe is going to, tie into World War. You also have the artificial intelligent things going on. You have those things happening, and it's like, you cannot necessarily, see all these different events and say, okay, we must be close to the end times. Not also with the knowledge that, you are, we are the generation it's been 2,000 years since Jesus has been on the earth, and so it's like, that's also, I believe, a big indication that we have to be close to the end times. But, okay, maybe it's, simplification. Is Donald Trump the Antichrist? We don't know. Maybe is another name figure, the Antichrist? We don't know. But, we have these different things taking place where maybe the devil is looking at who he can sort of possess and use, and that's why you have some of these big name people, sort of in the news, and so we have we've seen people rally around, Donald Trump as if he's, a messiah. We've seen the craziness that has happened, even the people, remember how the Bible said even the elect could be deceived. We saw pastors falling over heels over, head for Donald Trump, and they were all endorsing him like he was Jesus Christ. And so we know we're getting closer to the time of people just falling head over heels for the Antichrist. And so we see a lot of things on the horizon. And so I think this is just, something to put another notch, and it's ramped up with China and Taiwan. Now, I do think Jesus has said to us that we need to, do business until he comes, but we cannot continue on as normal, at least in our mindset, from all the stuff that we've seen. We've seen some crazy stuff since 2020, and it just keeps getting crazier, dude. It's not, and there's a little thing inside me that sometimes, I'm like, oh, maybe this one thing isn't really that big of a deal. Maybe this one thing isn't, it isn't that big. But then another event happens, and it's like, on every single level, not only just lawlessness, but also just, I've seen some crazy stuff in the news, and some stuff that they don't even talk about because it's so bad. But yet I saw a post of it, one time, and I almost was going to take a screenshot of it, but then I was like, no, I don't want to remember this, and it was just so bad, a crime that took place. And so, there are some crazy stuff happening, but I think one thing, the devil is trying to get us to do, and just people are trying to get us to do, is, pretend like, oh, hey, life is going to go on as normal. Now, it's just crazy. And so, with this whole China and Taiwan thing, man, that's just one more sign of the time. So thanks so much for checking this out, and let's try our best to be ready and make it in the pre-trib rapture. All right, thanks. Bye.